Brexit LIVE Juncker heads to Dublin as Irish border prepares to erupt. The issue remains one of the major sticking points in Brexit negotiation between the two sides, and Mr Juncker, the European Commission President, will be holding talks with Irish officials ahead of next week's EU summit in Brussels. Brussels has warned more has to be done on how to deal with the 300-mile border between Northern Ireland and the Republic, the UK's only land frontier with a European state, and protect frictionless movement after the withdrawal. Mr Juncker will meet Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, receive an honorary doctorate from the National University of Ireland, and attend an official dinner hosted by the Taoiseach in Dublin Castle. Tomorrow he will meet Irish President Michael D. Higgins. Rules governing the border post-Brexit represent one of the most vexed issues facing the negotiators in Brussels. Advances have been made in a number of areas, such as customs, VAT and nuclear waste regulation, EU chief negotiator Michel Barnier has said, but a lot more work needs to be done to meet the October deadline. Mr Juncker will be accompanied by EU Agriculture Commissioner Phil Hogan and Mr Barnier. Mr Varadkar has suggested other countries will balk at signing trade deals with the UK post-Brexit if Theresa May fails to honour commitments made to the EU on the Irish border issue. Both sides have agreed to include a so-called backstop option in the withdrawal treaty, which would commit the UK to align with an EU regulatory framework in the absence of a wider trade deal. But the shape of that fallback remains a sticking point, with the EU rejecting the UK contention that it should only be temporary, even if a broader agreement fails to materialise. 8.55am Update: Ireland's Deputy Premier Simon Coveney has warned the UK there will be no withdrawal deal without an agreement on the Irish border. Mr Coveney said the prospect of a no-deal scenario was being contemplated within the EU. He said the EU was standing firmly behind Ireland and its demand for legally binding assurances from the UK to ensure no return to a hard border on the island. Mr Coveney said, "We have been reassured over and over again that Ireland will not be left isolated here. Let's be very clear, there will be no withdrawal agreement, no transition agreement and no managed Brexit if the UK don't follow through on their commitments." 8.30am Update: Mr Varadkar said, "I'm very much looking forward to President Juncker's first visit to Ireland as Commission President. I will thank President Juncker and Michel Barnier for their ongoing support for Ireland and their show of solidarity throughout the Brexit negotiations. This is an important opportunity to assess the state of play in the Brexit negotiations." On the border issue, Mr Varadkar said, "We need to see much more progress from the UK to implement the commitments they made in December and March, and I expect the UK's efforts to intensify in the period ahead. President Juncker and I are both very committed to the European project and the benefits that it brings to citizens across the Union. We will also discuss other key items on the agenda of next week's meeting of the European Council, such as trade, ensuring a stable euro, and equipping the Union with a budget for its future needs."